Sacks is here in his deposition, apparently. Chamath
By the way, do you guys want to
crawling.
see this? Look at the size of this.
J. Cal's apparently playing no comment today on the
playing no comments.
subpoenas. So I will open the show. I will open the show by asking David Sacks, would you like to tell us about what you're holding in your hand?
Yeah, okay. So I got this subpoena from Twitter. This is a non-party subpoena for...
Didn't Twitter subpoena your tweets?
Yes. Let me get to that.
Wait.
This is a subpoena.
I thought they're public.
They are. These nitwits have Wachtell Lipton billing them at probably $2,000 an hour to subpoena tweets that are public. I mean, brilliant strategy. But this is called a subpoena for production of business records in an action pending outside California. So I'm not a party to the laws. At least they're not suing me because I have no involvement in this thing. But they sent me the broadest ever subpoena. It's like 30 pages of requests. And now I got to hire a lawyer to go quash this thing because they basically want any of my communications with any of my friends over the last 6 months. It's insane.
Sacks, can you just explain to the audience and to us, like, this is a court-sanctioned subpoena. The court is basically allowing the lawyers to demand that you hand over these communications. Is that right?
Yeah, but I haven't had a chance to fight it yet. So now, at my own expense, I got to hire a lawyer and go send them to fight it because this is a ridiculous, overbroad subpoena. And by the way, I'm not even involved in this thing. I'm just a commenter on Twitter. I don't have any. Let me just save Wachtell Lipton a lot of time right now. I'm not in possession of non-public information about this. And, you know, the craziest thing is, yeah, like you mentioned, they cite my tweets as an exhibit here, and they say they want all documents and communications concerning your statement in a tweet dated April 16th that the, quote, new Twitter CEO checklist includes eliminate all bots and fire useless employees, 50% question mark. So obviously they didn't like that. Your statement in a tweet dated April 25th, crazy thought, what if Jack masterminded this whole thing? Your statement in a tweet dated July 18th, that, quote, randomly sampling 100 accounts a day is not a serious effort, and or your statements in any other tweet concerning the merger, blah, blah. Let me just save them time right now. I don't have documents and communications concerning my tweets. Now, I know to a lawyer at Wachtell Lipton that looking at my tweets and how brilliant they are, you may think that I have extensive documentation and source material for them. But let me tell you what happened. I went to go take a shit and I basically tweeted off the cuff, and that's how that tweet ended up in the public record. There are no documents and communications concerning my tweets. And this idea that somehow, I guess what they're trying to get at is that somehow I was tweeting on behalf of someone or at someone's behest. Not true. Go look well before this year at my public tweets and blogs about the topic of free speech. I've been a critic of Twitter's for a long time on the issue of free speech. I've written a content moderation policy. I've written about what I think a content moderation policy for a social network that cares about free speech should be. You know, I've written all these posts on Medium going back years now. You know, I was a critic of Twitter throwing Donald Trump off the platform. So these views that I've publicly stated are – the reason I've stated them is they're just my views. And there's just nothing more nefarious or something behind them other than that. And they're just – I think they're just trying to chase a there that's – there is no there.
Right.
So let me just save everyone a lot of time.
You and I can talk because our friends have no comment on this matter.
Actually, I have one question. I have a follow-up question.
Okay.
During this movement that you had and you composed the tweet, is there any documentation of the movement?
No, but next time that I compose a tweet on the can, I will document it thoroughly and I will send it to the lawyers at Wachtell Lipton.
Zach, what happens if you don't respond in 20 days?
I don't know. Now I've hired a lawyer. By the way, just so people understand, you may think that because of my position in business or something that these things happen all the time. They don't. I've been maybe subpoenaed like 3 times in my entire career, and I've never been subpoenaed in my capacity as an individual. It's always been in connection with a company, and I don't think I've gotten one of these in over 5 years. So this just does not happen that often. These guys are totally chasing at straws, and it leads me to believe they're wasting my time and Twitter's money. And they're trying somebody at Twitter should just rein in their lawyers because they're, I'm sure, racking up a fortune in legal fees.
It sounds like Sacks, the case is that they're trying to make that Elon used his network of friends to help wash away the deal because he didn't like the price anymore, and had his friends, kind of tweet about bots and other stuff to support his case for killing the deal because he didn't like the price. And they're trying to see if there's any communications that he specifically said he didn't like the price.
Yeah, I mean, look, they all, in addition to my tweets, they want all my documents and correspondence related to my appearance on Megyn Kelly, my appearance on the Will Cain podcast, and, other media appearances I've done. Look, I had no coordination with Elon before appearing on any of those shows. I just went on those shows and said what I think. I mean, look, it's not like I'm a guy who doesn't have hot takes every single week on various issues.
Right.
We've been doing this podcast for years. I've been tweeting for years. I'm just a commentator on this. I've never been in possession of non-public information, and I've tweeted my takes based on the public information that's been available about this dispute. Now, after I appeared, for example, on Will Cain, I remember Elon tweeted in support of my appearance, but there was no coordination before I appeared or after, for that matter. He just liked the appearance.
Yeah.
So it's just me spouting off, doing what I've been doing on this pod and tweeting for years. Now, I can understand if maybe they're trying to read something into it, they're on a fishing expedition, but I've just told you
think
what the truth is.
The whole thing is just such an enormous waste of time. Just get into court, adjudicate the thing, and move on.
I was reading yesterday this guy who follows the Delaware courts pretty closely. He had a bunch of commentary, and he mimicked some of the stuff, or the judge apparently on the case said some stuff about preserving the integrity of the court, meaning that the interpretation people are making is that ultimately they don't want to, the court is unlikely to try and force the merger, because if the merger then doesn't get consummated, it damages the reputation of the court's ability to make enforcement action. And therefore, it's more likely that they just impose a fine.
But what is the enforcement action if I don't know? We should ask somebody who's
force the merger. Force Elon to buy Twitter.
But what does that mean, force?
I don't know about that. Okay. All I know is that this discovery request is overly broad. It's a fishing expedition. It's harassment of me. It's going to cost me time and money to get rid of this thing. I didn't do anything to deserve it or prompt this. I wasn't part of the transaction. I just wasn't. And I've never said anything in regards to the transaction that should lead anyone to believe that I'm in possession of non-public information.
Yeah.
So this is harassment, it's punitive, and the fact that they're citing my tweets in which I criticize Twitter's management, it's just petty and vindictive.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
Can you get your legal fees reimbursed?
I'd probably not.
Good luck. No. 5 or 6 years ago, I approached Twitter about what I would have called a friendly activist, myself and another large fund. And the reality is there's a lot of data that sits in the public domain that you can use to get a very clear view of Twitter's advantages and disadvantages. And so, all of these issues that Twitter is dealing with has been known for a long time to people that spent any time analyzing the stock, comparing it to other social media stocks. So I just don't understand what all of this is about. At the end of the day, a person that had a point of view has changed their mind. Get to the bottom of what that person thinks. But going on these broad fishing expedition, I think, is just really stupid.
And then what was Joe Lonsdale subpoenaed for? I mean, he just appeared
for being at the All In Summit.
For being a guest at the All In Summit. So that just shows you how silly this is too, because Elon, we did an interview, the four of us interviewed Elon at the All In Summit in Miami back in, was it May? When did we do that?
Yeah,
in any
May.
event. So Elon appeared, but he dialed in by Zoom. It's not like he was walking around the hallways, bumping into people and talking. Like he did not communicate with anybody else at the summit.
Yeah.
He was a guest by Zoom. So if you want to know the communications that we had, just go watch that public recording of us interviewing Elon. There's just, again, there's no need for this fishing expedition.
Guys, this is the record for the longest amount of time in his life J. Cal has not spoken. So I want to acknowledge this moment, and we can move forward.
Sacks, did you do any prep work for the interview with Elon while you were
Wow, good question.
In the commode?
No,
In the
no,
commode?
there's no prep work. I showed up.
Barely.
I barely showed up. I
Barely.
barely showed. You guys
Barely.
remember?
Man.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
See, and you guys don't want to do All In Summit 2022. Come on, 23. Come on.
We're good.
We're good.
Yeah, exactly. Why do I need another one of these?
I actually want to have Friedberg Stans create an event honoring him, and I'm going to appear there as the keynote speaker.
Absolutely. Sultan of Science Con.
Actually, I should really thank you, J. Cal. You know,
Yeah, it's all on
Totally.
me.
for throwing the summit. Thanks, J. Cal.
Jake out.
First, I blame Twitter's executives. Then I blame you.
I think you could listen, if we do another All In Summit, maybe it's profitable and
By the way, can I
we
just
can pay
say-
our legal bills.
Can I just say, like, as a user, just as a user, okay,
User. Commentary.
the bot issue is really real. Like, how many accounts are there which have like 20 or 30 followers that just spew vitriol, either positive or negative, constantly every time you tweet anything? It makes tweeting impossible. I used to be an ardent user of Twitter, and I think in the last year it has become exceptionally unusable.
Well, in
And so
fairness,
they should just
fairness-
fix.
yeah.
They should fix that product
Yeah.
quality problem.
In fairness to Sacks, he did pay $10 per account to have those created and to troll your replies. But it is true. I always screenshot it. I look at who's like trolling me in replies, and inevitably it is a 6-month-old account that's following 100 people and has no followers or 5 followers, and it has like some large.
But I mean, it's like
string of
every
numbers
time,
at the end of the name.
every time you say something, every time I say something, it's like every other comment is about a stock. It's about a crypto
yeah.
thing that they want you to click on. And so, this last month, I've started to experiment with turning comments off, and it's been the best because I
Yeah.
can still communicate out. It gets the same reach. Millions of people will see what I have to say, but I don't have to deal, and all of the other people that follow me theoretically for useful information don't have to deal with all of the bullshit that comes with it now.
Yeah, but you can also
And so
pick. You should try.
there's a real problem on that platform that needs to get fixed.
Here's the thing. It's easily fixable because if you go to LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram, you don't see this. So if the other platforms can figure it out across many different companies, it's not like there's some secret sauce here. You just have to put up, a couple of reasonable gates and have some reasonable reporting, and you take a little friction out, and people will not be able to create bots en masse.
Yeah, I noticed that problem, in the early days of the Ukraine war, when I would tweet out my opinion,
Same.
my contrarian opinions, my non-consensus opinions on the Ukraine war.
You get attacked. I remember you were
Oh
getting
my
attacked.
God, it was
constantly.
ruthless.
But those are
here's
not
the-
real people. Those are
Well,
not
here's the
real people.
point,
Those
yeah.
are
And when
algorithms.
Yeah, when you would go click on those accounts, you would see that they were accounts created that month
Yep.
with 0 followers, 0 following, and they were brand new accounts without any history. And they were all tweeting the same thing, accusing me of being Neville Chamberlain. It was all just, Putin talking points or whatever. So there, I think particularly when you speak out against the current thing, there's, an organized effort to try and drown you out. But look, the Washington Post had a story about this, that Ukraine was really good at what they called strategic communications.
Yeah. Misinformation.
We used to call that propaganda. But in any event, I mean, look, there is absolutely a problem
It's
there.
now a playbook. I don't know if you guys saw the Zack Snyder recut of Justice League. Supposedly, there were bot armies that put the pressure on Warner Brothers to release his cut of that movie, and that he might have in some way been involved was the insinuation. And it actually drove commerce. They gave him the $30, $40 million to recut the film.